Hola estudiantes, this is a quick video to give you a mini lesson on adjective agreement so that you know how to use the adjectives we learned in class to describe the food that you now know how to say in Spanish. So, the first thing we need to think about is es versus son. So if you think back to when we reviewed the verb ser in the beginning of the year, you would remember that es means is, right? Ella es, she is. Son means are. Ellos son, they are. So here's how we use this when we're talking about food. For example, el maíz es rico, right? The corn is delicious. Okay, and the rule is, when you're talking about only one food, you use es. It's singular, the corn is. But when it's plural, like las fresas son ricas, you use son because we're talking about more than one food. The strawberries are delicious. So, take a second and you're going to practice here. You're going to choose between the verbs es and son. We'll do the first one together. Las salchichas, blank, buenas. Think for a second. And if you chose son, you are correct, right? Because we're saying the sausages, it's plural. They are good. So, you should either pause the video or take a minute, do the rest on your own on your worksheet. And I'll say the answers now. El elote es bueno. La mantequilla es buena. Los pasteles son buenos. La leche es buena. Okay, so hopefully this was a quick reminder and you have the hang of when we use es and when we use son. So here's where it gets a little bit more difficult with adjective agreement. Las galletas son deliciosas. Okay, so we're using son, but we also need to worry about what form is the adjective in, deliciosas. So when the food ends in as, the adjective needs to agree and also end in as, right? This is the plural form. We're talking about las galletas, cookies. However, when it's singular, looking at the same adjective, el elote es delicioso. So the food ends in O or it has the article el, right? Elote does not end with an O or an A, but the article tells us that it's singular and masculine. So it also needs to end, the adjective needs to end with O in the singular form. So if you see, deliciosas agrees with las galletas and delicioso agrees with el elote. Let's look at the two other forms that you might see. Los huevos son nutritivos. Okay, so the food here ends in os, los huevos, and the adjective also needs to agree and end in os, the plural form. Last one. La manzana es nutritiva. Here the food ends with an a, or even if it didn't, the article la would tell us that the adjective needs to agree and also end with the letter a, right? The singular form. So, if that's confusing to you, here's a quick cheat sheet, right? Use the articles to help you. If you remember, these four words, el, la, los, and las, they all mean the. El flan, the flan. La manzana, the apple. Los huevos, the eggs. Las galletas, the cookies. So, here's your cheat sheet. If you see that the food item starts with el, like el flan, el elote, el broccoli, it is singular and masculine, so the adjective ending is going to be o. If you see that the food starts with the word la, like la manzana, it's still singular, but now it's feminine. So the adjective ending should be a. If you see that it's los, like los huevos, it is now plural and masculine. So the adjective ending would be os. And if it's las, like las galletas, it's plural and feminine, so the adjective ending is as, as. So for example, if we used all the same adjective, right, delicioso. El flan es delicioso. La manzana es deliciosa. Los huevos son deliciosos. Las galletas son deliciosas. Do you see how that works? It's the same adjective, but the ending needs to change based on whatever food we're talking about. So, this is some more practice that you'll do on your own. So first, you'll choose between the verbs es and son in the first blank, and then choose the correct ending for the adjective rico so it agrees with the food it's describing. So remember, it's all going to start with RIC, but depending on the food you're talking about, you're either going to say rico, rica, ricos, or ricas. We'll do the first one together and then you'll do the rest on your own to practice. So, las salchichas. Our first task is to choose. Would we say es or son? Think about that. Good job. It would be son because it is plural. Las salchichas. So, we know that it's plural, and let's look at the article to help us. Las tells us not only that it's plural, but that it's also feminine. So the ending would be ricas, as. You're going to do the rest on your own on your paper, and when you're done, please submit it to Schoology, and we will review. I will post this slide as an answer key in Schoology so you can check your work, but we'll also review together when I see you again on Monday. The rest of your practice with verbs and adjectives is in Schoology, so please do your best to work on it on your own, and if you have any questions, just send me a message. Muchas gracias.